1. Faith, I've been having these awful dreams, each a little different, though the core is the same. We were walking in a field, Wally and Arden and I, a stretch of grass with a highway running beside it, or a path in the woods that opens onto a road. Everything's fine, then the dog sprints ahead of us. Excited, we recalling Doty's racing down a scent and doesn't he hear us? And that's when he goes onto the highway. I don't want to describe it. Sometimes it's brutal and over, and others he's struck and takes off, so we don't know where he is or how bad. This wakes me every night now, and I stay awake. I am afraid if I sleep I'll go back into the dream. It's been 6 months, almost exactly, since the doctor wrote no even a real word but an acronym. A vacant 4-letter cipher that draws meanings into itself, reconstitutes the world. We tried to say it was just a word, we tried to admit it had power and thus to nullify it be means of our acknowledgement. I know the current wisdom, bright hope, the power of wishing you well. He's just so tired, though nothing shows in any tests, nothing. The doctor says, detectable. The doctor doesn't hear what I do, the trickling, steadily rising nothing that makes him sleep all day, vanish into feverish tranced afternoons, and I swear sometimes when I put my head to his chest he can hear the virus humming like a refrigerator, which is what makes me think you can take your positive attitude and go straight to hell. We don't have a future. We have a dog who is his soul without speech, sheer, tireless faith. He is that which goes forward, black muzzle, black paws scouting what's ahead. He is where we'll be hit first. He is the part of us that's going to get it. I am hardly awake on our morning walk, always just me and Arden now, and sometimes I am still in the thrall of the dream, which is why, when he took a step onto commercial before I looked both ways, I screamed his name and grabbed his collar, and there I was on my knees, both arms around his neck and nothing coming. And when I looked into that bewildered face, he realized I didn't know what it was he was shouting at. I didn't know who I was trying to protect too. Reprieve woke in the night and thought, it was a dream. Nothing has torn the future apart. We have not lived years in dread. It never happened. I dreamed it all. And then there was this sensation of terrific pressure lifting, as if I were rising in one of those old diving bells, lightning, unburdening. I didn't know how heavy my life had become. So much fear, so little knowledge. It was like being young again, but I understood how light I was, how without encumbrance, and so I felt both young and awake, which I never felt when I was young. The curtains moved. It was still summer, all the windows open, and I thought, I can move that easily. I thought my dream had lasted for years, a decade. A dream can seem like that, I thought. There is so much more time. And then of course the truth came floating back to me. You know how children love to end stories they tell by saying, it was all a dream? Years ago, when I taught kids to write, I used to tell them this ending spoiled things, explaining and dismissing what had come before. Now I know how wise they were, to prefer that gesture of closure. Their stories rounded not with a sleep but a waking. What other gift comes close to a reprieve? This was the dream that Wally told me. I was in the tunnel, he said, and there really was a light at the end, and a great being standing in the light. His arms were full of people, men and women, but his proportions were all just right. I mean, I was the size of you or me, and the people said, come with us. We were going dancing, and they seemed so glad to be going, and so glad to have me join them, but I said, I am not ready yet. I didn't know what to do. When he finished, except hold the relentless weight of him, I didn't know what to say except, it was a dream. Nothing's wrong now. It was only a dream. 3. Michael's dream. Michael writes to tell me his dream. I was helping Randy out of bed, supporting him on one side with another friend on the other, and as we stood him up, he stepped out of the body I was holding and became a shining body, brilliant light held in the form I first knew him in. This is what I imagine will happen. The spirit's release. Michael, when we support our friends, one of us on either side, our arms under the man or woman's arms, what is it we re-holding? Vessel, shadow, hurrying light? All those years he made love to a man without thinking how little his body had to do with me, now, diminished. He's never been so plainly himself, remote and unguarded, an otherness I can't know the first thing about. I said, you need to drink more water or you're going to turn into an old dry leaf. And he said, maybe I want to be an old leaf in the dream Randy S sleeping into the future, and still here, Michael S holding him and releasing at once. Just as Steve's holding Jerry, though he S already gone, Marie holding John, gone, Maggie holding here John, gone, Carlos and Darren holding another Michael, gone, and I am holding Wally, who S going where isn't he the question, though we think it is, we don't even know where the living are, in this raddled and unraveling here. What is the body? Rain on a window, a clear movement over whose gaze husk, leaf, little boat of paper and wood to mark the speed of the stream. Randy and Jerry, Michael and Wally and John, lucky we don't have to know what something is in order to hold it. 4. Atlantis, he thought your realness a kind of solvent dissolving the future a little at a time. I didn't understand what Estacom was always just a glimmer up ahead, veiled like the marsh gone under its tidal sheet of mildly rippling aluminum. What these salt distances were ice also where they going from blankly silvered span towards specificity. The curve of certain brave islands of grass, temporary shoulder-wide rivers where herons ply their twin trades of study and desire. I've seen two white emissaries unfold like heaven's linen, untouched, enormous, a fluid exhalation. Early spring, too cold yet for green, too early for the tumble and rack of last season to be anything but promise. But there in the air was white tulip, marvel, triumph of all flowering, the soul lifted up, if we could still believe in the soul, after so much diminishment, breath, from the unpromising waters, up, across the pond and the two-lane highway, pure purpose, over the dune, gone. Tomorrow's unreadably is this shining acreage. The future's nothing but this moment's gleaming rim. Now the tide's begun its clockwork turn, pouring, in the day's hourglass, toward the other side of the world, and our dependable marsh reappears emptied of that starched and angular graced hat spirited the ether, lessened, but here. And our ongoingness, what there'll be of us. Look, love, the lost world rising from the waters again, our continent, where it always was, emerging from the half-light, unforgettable, drenched, unchanged. 5. Coastal cold April and the neighbor girl, a plumber's daughter, comes up the wet street from the harbor carrying, in a nest she's made of her pink parka, a loon. It's so sick, she says when I ask. Foolish kid, does she think she can keep this emissary of her? Is it trust or illness that allows the head sleek tulip to bow on its bent stem across her arm? Look at the steady, quiet eye. She is carrying bird back from indifference, from the coast of whatever rearrangement elements intend, and the loon allows her. She is going to call the Center for Coastal Studies, and will swaddle the bird in her petal bright coat until they come. She cradles the wild form. Stubborn girl. 6. New dog Jimmy and Tony can't keep Dino. Their cocker spaniel, Tony's too sick, the daily walks more pressure than pleasure, one more obligation that can't be met. And though we already have a dog, Wally wants to adopt, wants something small and golden to sleep next to him and lick his face. He is paralyzed now from the waist down, whatever rest ruining him moving upward, and don't he know how much longer hell'll be able to pet a dog. How many men want another attachment, just as they leaving the world. Wally sits up nights and says, I'd like some lizards, a talking bird, some fish, a little rat. So after I drive to Jimmy and Coney's in the village and they meet me at the door and say, we can't go through with it, we can't give up our dog, I drive to the shelter just to look, and their eyes bounding and practically boundless, one brass concatenation of tongue and tail, unmediated energy, too big, wild, perfect. He not only licks Wally's face but bathes every irreplaceable link of his head, and though Wally can no longer feed himself, he can lift his hand, and bring it to rest on the rough gilt flanks when they are, for a moment, still. I have never seen a touch so deliberate. It isn't about grasping. The hand itself seems almost blurred now, softened, thought-tentative on lie, because so much will must be summoned, such attention brought to the work which is all his now. This gesture toward the restless splendor, the unruly, the golden, the animal, the new,